Hello, vacation rental owner or manager. I'm Cara, and I've decorated over 24 STRs. My clients have an 84% to 153% revenue increase after working with me. On this podcast, we're talking about the number one decor element that'll get you more bookings without lowering your price. Hi, vacation rental owner. Welcome to Step Up Your STR, the podcast all about decorating your STR so it can make max revenue. In this episode, I want to talk about something so powerful, so simple, so often ignored, so often not understood at all in STR design, and that is vivid color. Vivid color is actually the number one way to get more bookings without lowering your price. If you feel like your listing is being overlooked, if you're constantly tempted to drop your nightly rate just to be competitive, this episode is for you. There's a better way, and it starts with color in your decor. I also have a free printable that goes with this episode, but definitely listen here because I'll go into a lot more detail on this podcast than the printable will give you. All right, with all of that, let's get into the details of color. First, I want to be super clear. Vivid color is not about painting your whole house purple or making everything look like a rainbow exploded. It's about strategically placing bold, memorable color in the places where it counts and in a way that feels layered and intentional, but it never feels overwhelming. So let me tell you a story that illustrates the power of color. A while back, I was coming home from a road trip, and it was one of those long, gray, rainy days. The light was flat. There were endless fields of muddy, bare soil with a little bit of dirty, leftover gray snow. Everything looked tired, like the color had been sucked out of the whole landscape. And then as we came around a bend, we saw a field bursting with wildflowers. I thought they were actually wildflowers, but they were tulips, professionally planted tulips. But my first thought was, wow, wildflowers, pinks, oranges, reds, violets. And they were just glowing under this pale blue sky. And it was so eye-catching that we literally pulled the car over, got out, and took photos and admired it. That's what vivid color does. It stops people in their tracks. It makes them feel something. It pulls them in and gives them a reason to look again and stay longer. Your listing can be like that field of wildflowers in a gray landscape. And on a platform like Airbnb or Vrbo, where guests are scrolling through a sea of neutral thumbnails, your listing needs to be the one that stops their scroll. Your photos are your first line of contact with a potential guest. Guests are scrolling past dozens or even hundreds of listings in a matter of minutes. If yours looks like every other beige and gray property, there's nothing that is going to set you apart, nothing to differentiate you from all the other boring beige and gray, unless your price is dirt cheap, and you don't want that. That's a race to the bottom. But when color is used, and if it's used in a smart way, it stops the scroll. Color helps create emotional reactions. It can cause excitement, a feeling of newness, warmth, joy. These are all the things that guests want to feel on vacation. And here's the kicker, color photographs beautifully. It adds depth and contrast in your listing photos. When it's done right, it can even make a cheap room look expensive. I want to tell you about a real bedroom that I decorated in Utah. Now, here, I want to remind you that this is a video podcast, so you can see it in video form. I upload it to YouTube. You can simply search there for my channel, just type in Cara with a C as in Charlie, Cara, VR as a vacation rental decor, Cara VR decor. And I tell you this because it could be really helpful for you to see the pictures of this room and certain things that I'll be talking about today. I will describe it though, in case you prefer to listen, but you do have the option to watch. All right, so picture this room. It has a sweet sloped ceiling, kind of an attic style bedroom, pale blue walls, soft carpet, a beautiful view out the windows, out of both windows in the room. Nice clean lines. The space has great bones, but at first it was falling flat because it was so neutral. The owner did have all the basics: bed, dressers, nightstands, and they had done, quote, everything right. They had maximized their listing. They had professional photography. It was super well managed, but still no one was booking it. So I brought in my vivid color strategically. First, we kept the walls just really light and we let the bedding do the heavy lifting. We used a bright patterned quilt that had, if you can see in the picture, it has some soft pink, some vivid coral, seafoam green running through it. Those colors are instantly cheerful. And then we added two solid green pillows at the head of the bed with a vibrant tapestry style lumbar pillow in front of those. And that lumbar pillow is in fuchsia and gold tones. And the moment that kind of made the space really come together and come alive in a fun and expected way is with a simple accent chair that was put over in the corner by the window. It has a white throw blanket draped over the top that is covered in large, bold, colorful polka dots. And so this could be like your field of wildflowers. The polka dots are in red, orange, green, blue. It is so fun. That polka dotted blanket on the chair is fairly unusual. It is a pop of joy. It makes the room feel intentional because it plays off the colors on the bed and is just playful, Instagram worthy. That chair is mentioned in reviews. It's actually really comfortable. It's so cute. Guests take photos on it. They comment on how energizing the space is. And occupancy for this owner went up within just a month of swapping out that neutral bedding to some vivid color. Also, this wasn't expensive. It was a quilt from a boutique and a few pillows, plus that polka dotted blanket from Home Goods. So we shopped really affordably. But it's now making thousands of dollars of revenue difference. That is the power of color. Let's break this down room by room. I want to share a few simple ideas of how you can use vivid color in the main rooms of your STR. So first, the living room. This is usually the first area guests see after walking in, and it's often the hero shot of your listing. So add some colorful throw pillows. Bigger is better here, like 24 by 24 inch square. Also, a large piece of colorful art. That can be enough to create a lot of visual interest. And I do want to emphasize here to make it large. Kitchen. Most kitchens are really neutral with just some white or cream or wood cabinets. So color here really pops. You could swap out your neutral dish towels for a bold blue or yellow set. Try a bright red kettle on the stove. Those are really easy ways to add color in the kitchen. And then, of course, the bedrooms. This is where you can make a big impact fast. Use bedding that includes 2 or 3 colors with the decorative blankets and the decorative pillows that you use. Patterns in your decorative top of bed items. Patterns can be great here. Also, consider bold colored curtains in bedrooms. They can be awesome and really tie the room together. And then there's outdoor spaces. Don't forget the outside. Some people just crave being outside. So bright pillows on a patio set, colorful pots for plants, and a bold outdoor rug can add energy and really attract a lot of attention in your online photos. Now, with all this talk of color, I can hear you now. I've heard it many times. You're probably saying, but I like neutrals. Here's the deal. You can absolutely start with a neutral base. That's a great place to start, in fact. But if you want to stand out online and get clicks and bookings, you need contrast. Contrast, especially with color, with eye-catching Color, remember, eye-catching is so important because it leads to clicks, which lead to bookings, which lead to revenue. Color is the easiest way to make your listing eye-catching and get more bookings for your STR. A white wall needs something vivid in front of it to shine. A gray sofa needs a coral pillow or maybe a mustard yellow, saffron yellow throw to feel like it's a wonderful vacation home. The problem isn't neutrals, it's when everything is neutral. Now, vivid color is part of what I call the Homey Trinity. That's a nickname that my friend gave it to me and it has stuck, the Homey Trinity. These are the three biggest decor moves that lead to more bookings and higher revenue. It's my proprietary decor process, and it is number one, color, today's topic. Number two, white walls. Yes, you heard that right. White walls create a crisp backdrop that shows off your wonderful furniture and makes spaces feel clean. Clean is super duper important because clean is what guests want first and foremost. And white walls are such an easy way to give that feeling of clean. Finally, the third element of the Trinity is something Instagrammable. This is something memorable and unique in your space. That could be an interactive mural or a fun giant neon sign, a boldly patterned chair in the space, like the polka dot blanket on the chair I mentioned earlier. Instagrammable is something that guests want to take a picture of, and it's the thing I have found that results in the most repeat guests. When you combine all three of the Trinity, your STR is not just functional, it's memorable. It gives an amazing experience. Memorable listings get booked. So if you'd like a free printable of this decor Trinity, I have it. You can find it in the description box. It's at my website, vrdecor.co/Trinity. That's VR as in vacation rental, decor.co/Trinity. Let's talk about fear. Sometimes I get the question, what if color turns guests off? I'm afraid of putting it in. What if guests don't want it? Well, let's assess. Are more guests booking or are more guests ignoring your listing right now more than they're loving it? If you're blending in, you're losing money. That's pretty much the bottom line. You need to stand out to stop the scroll and get guests to click on your listing. Color gives guests something to connect with emotionally. People don't book based on logic. They book based even more on how a place makes them feel. And bold color done right makes your place feel special. So please don't think that color will scare guests off. I've seen it over and over again. It draws them in. Let me give you a few insider tips to avoid mistakes. Stick to just 3 or 4 colors total in each room. And this includes neutrals. For example, white walls, a navy sofa, a mustard pillow, and green plants. Done. Also repeat colors throughout the room. So if you use teal in a pillow, bring it into a piece of art and maybe a stack of books on the coffee table. Also balance warm with cool colors. So if you have a red chair, that's great. Add maybe some other color elements in, like some blue in a really restful piece of art so the room doesn't feel hot. Also let one item do the heavy lifting, like that polka dot blanket or a huge piece of art. And then you can fill in other spots in the space with color more sparingly. And the best part, you don't have to be a color expert. I do have training as a true color expert, but this can be doable. I mentioned I created that free printable for you that talks about color and all parts of the Homey Trinity. I hope you can use that as a start to refresh any space in your STR that might be currently falling flat. And again, find that in the description box. There's a link. So let's bring it home. If you want more bookings, if you want to raise your nightly rate, if you want to have guests actually remember and talk in a positive way about your listing, start with vivid color. It's affordable, it's fast, and it works. I've seen it over and over again. From quilts to throw pillows to art, accent chairs. It is the simplest lever you can pull for more clicks, bookings, and revenue. And you deserve a space that earns its keep. Color can help you get there. That's it for now. Thank you for listening in. Color is fantastic. I look forward to talking again next time.